Hello everybody, this is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. Today we are going to work on a fun Halloween arrangement. So we got an order in and they wanted a sweet Halloween arrangement to go to their daughter today, so that's what we're going to work on. This is just a cute container I ordered from Direct Floral. I believe that when you ordered you got 6 in a pack. Really, it's a ceramic little container. We've actually sold, I think we've sold 2 with little snack packs in them. We sold 1 that had a pretty green plant, and now we're going to make a fun Halloween arrangement. I have taken this container, I have put a half of a block, maybe 2/3 of a block of fresh floral foam that has been soaked right down into the container, and then I filled the reservoir with water. And then I taped the foam into place. You just always want to make sure your mechanics are well put together. Now I will say that is perhaps the most important part of making a floral design, is that you have really good mechanics. You don't want your flower arrangement to fall apart. So what I mean by good mechanics is you want to make sure when working with fresh floral foam that it's taped down into the container. So if in case the container got tipped, the flower arrangement isn't going to fall out. You just don't want it to fall apart. So important. So it is all in place. What we're going to do is I'm going to start out adding a little bit of greenery. Now I've got several different varieties of greenery that I'll go over each one as we go. We're going to start out with a little bit of leather leaf or baker's fern. I'm going to take it and cut it into smaller pieces and press that right down into my fresh floral foam. It usually doesn't take a ton of leather. I just like to use leather leaf as a base. Now I know that there are a lot of floral designers who don't like leather leaf at all. I like it as a base. I think it's usually a really good grid for like a dozen roses. It really helps to hold those flowers in place when you design in a vase, like a glass vase. And it's a really good base at the bottom of a floral design. If you don't like leather, you don't have to use it. I just find it's fairly inexpensive and it does a good job. Now, it's usually covered with other pretty greens. It's never my focal greenery. It's just a base greenery. So there's my leather. I think I used 4 different pieces of leather leaf as my base. The next greenery I'm going to come in is called grevillea. Now this is a tinted grevillea. It came in an autumn pack where they have taken it and they have tinted it. This is a beautiful, fun orange color. I also have here some purple, which is so fun. I think purple is always a really fun color for Halloween. But here's the purple. Look at this. Look how pretty it is. So grevillea, now the one thing about grevillea I will tell you that I don't like is if you've ever picked okra, it kind of has those little hairs, or even peaches. You know how peaches have little hairs? Well, okra is the world's worst, that those little hairs on the okra will kind of make you itchy. Grevillea is kind of the same. It kind of makes you itchy. I'm not really sure exactly what it is. It's got a fun little serrated leaf on it, and it's got those leaves all the way up. Now when it's not tinted, it's usually a nice green color. I'm going to actually use both the purple and the orange in here just because I think it's a really fun pop of Halloween, kind of Halloween and spooky. So I am just taking my grevillea and cutting it into smaller pieces and tucking that right down into my fresh floral foam. I think during seasonal times like Halloween and autumn, it's kind of fun to get tinted materials. Now I will tell you, I'm not a huge fan of weird tints. Like, I don't mind this purple for Halloween. I don't mind it for autumn, honestly. It doesn't bother me. But when you get hydrangeas and they're tinted candy corn colors, I don't love that. Just because it's so odd. It's so not natural. It's just interesting at how I kind of pick and choose what I like and what I don't. But I do not mind this tinted autumn colors in the greenery or in wax flower. Okay, so I just took just a few pieces off of one. So this is one stem. I just took 3 little pieces off this one stem. I'm not using anywhere close to the whole thing. That'll go right back in our bucket. Next, I'm going to take our orange, and I'm probably not going to use anywhere close to all of this, but I'm going to take the little offshoots. I'm going to cut them, and we're going to tuck that orange in just because it's fun. I love when you have a stem that has all these offshoots and you don't have to use the whole stem in your design because it spreads out so well. You're not using, if you don't use the whole stem, you don't have to charge for the whole stem, right? And it makes it go so much further in your design. Okay, so there's our orange, just kind of fun and moody and spooky looking. Next, we're gonna come in. I've got lots of greenery for this design. Next, I'm gonna come in with some seeded eucalyptus. Now, our eucalyptus is just going to be kind of drippy. Again, one stem that I'm going to take apart. I'm not just gonna stick the whole stem in there. I'm gonna take it apart in small pieces and just kind of work all the way through our design. This is going to be a one-sided design because you can see my little jack-o'-lantern's face on the front. So I'm really making it kind of one-sided instead of all the way around. And I am going to use the entire stem of seeded eucalyptus. All right, there's our fun seeded eucalyptus. Love all the textures of fall. They're all so pretty and fun. The next thing I'm going to use is called Rumex. Now, Rumex reminds me a lot of a millet. A millet is a grass seed. Rumex is actually the seed from curly dock. And it is so pretty. Now, the only downfall of Rumex, the only thing that I don't like about it is it's not very drought tolerant. So it does not like to not have enough water. If it doesn't have enough water, it is going to be very wilty looking. So you want to kind of make note of that. Make sure when you're using it that you use it with plenty of water in your container. So when we deliver this arrangement, often arrangements in containers like this do not get watered as often as they need to be. And it's strictly because people don't see a water line. So we will put a little tag that says, "I am thirsty, please give me plenty of water." And that way people may read it and remember to water it. But look at how fun that Rumex is. It kind of gives you that fun movement. And I just love it. I just love its color. I love it. I love that it's that bright green. I love all the movement. Next, we're going to come in with our line flower. Now, the line flower I chose are Bells of Ireland. Just kind of fun, happy lime green bells. Just pretty bells. I'm going to take it and I'm going to strip the bottom leaves off that bell. I love the smell of bells. It really smells fresh, almost like a fresh rain. I'm going to take that stem, I'm going to cut it at an angle, and I'm going to tuck him kind of up there in the top. You can see what I mean when I say it's a line flower. It's a straight up and down. Looks like a line, right? I'm going to take and I'm going to pinch the tip out of this one bell here. Strip off those bottom blooms. Cut that stem at an angle. and press that guy right down in there. I'm going to take my next stem. I've got 3 stems of bells. Do the same. Pinch, strip. Now you don't always have to strip those blooms, but it's a little long, so I don't need that flower to be quite that long. So I just strip those off. Okay, there's our 3 bells of Ireland. Next we're going to come in with these fun orangey colored daisies. Now during the fall, to me, daisies are one of my my favorite fall flowers because daisies come in all the colors of autumn. They come in bronze and orange and yellow and reds, all the pretty colors. So I'm going to take this daisy and I actually cut him in half. I'm going to nestle the shorter piece right down in the front of my design, and the longer piece, give that a good cut, and I'm going to tuck him a little higher in the design. I'm going to take a second stem, and I'm actually going to turn my arrangement around real quick and look at it. I'm actually looking at the reflection in the camera. I'm going to put our second stem kind of over here to the side. Take that knife, cut it at an angle. I'm just going to nestle that second stem over there. All right, here comes our focal flower. So the focal flower it's usually the larger bloom that is the main focus of your design. So I chose to use these really fun sunflowers. Now these are called Vincent sunflowers, just a bright yellow sunflower with a dark center. I prefer a Vincent over most varieties, and the reason is they're the hardiest. They just last so long. Now they come in different sizes. They come in a small, a medium, and a large. This is the medium. To me, the medium's just right. The small is too small, the large is too large. The medium is just right. So we're going to use some medium sunflowers. Now, when choosing your bloom, you're going to choose, usually you want to choose an open, like a more open bloom is going to be the bottom bloom, or a larger bloom is going to be the one below in the lowest part of your design. And then the smallest bloom would be the one in the top of your design. Now the reason is its visual weight. So small, medium, and large, or the smallest is always in the top. It's the lightest visually, and the largest looks visually, it's the heaviest. So you kind of want to graduate the sizes. You never want to use the largest bloom up here in the top. So anytime you're designing, say you're designing with a large sunflower or a large Gerbera daisy or a hydrangea, you never want him hanging out up here in the top, because visually he's heavy. So he should always be down here holding the weight down toward your arrangement. So we're going to take our largest bloom. I'm going to cut that stem at an angle, and I'm going to nestle him right down here at the bottom of our design. I'm going to take my second bloom, which is my next smaller bloom, and I'm just going to kind of stagger him. He's going to stand up here a little above that sun, and then our smallest bloom we're going to tuck right up here in the top. So you want to leave some length on him and tuck him right up here in the top. So they're kind of graduated, small, medium, and large. All right, to finish our design, I've got some fun ornamental pumpkins, some sweet little pumpkins. I actually used these in a design not too long ago. I just picked these up at the local grocery store. They came in a bag of like 5 or 6 little pumpkins. And so I took a bamboo skewer and I just pierced that pumpkin. And so he's just going to sit on that bamboo skewer. I'm going to nestle him right deep and just kind of tuck him in with his little fall sweet self. And then I'm going to take my second one and nestle it kind of in the middle. Just kind of fun, and it looks so autumn. To finish our design, we are going to use some fun ribbon. So I think I'm going to use this fun plaid. It's a gingham check in orange and black because it does say Halloween with that orange and black. And then we're going to use, so this is a 1.5 inch ribbon. We're going to also use a 2.5 inch ribbon, and it has little ghosts, and they say boo, and then of course it's got candy corn, because who can have Halloween without candy corn? Now I know that not everybody loves candy corn, but I personally think it's mighty yummy. You give me a handful of peanuts and a handful of candy corn, I am one happy girl. I really like it. Okay, I'm going to make my bow, and I'm just going to do just a few loops. It doesn't need tons because of course our design has plenty of flowers. I just thought this would really send home that it is a Halloween design. So I'm going to take and make a few loops of my black and orange gingham. Now this is wired ribbon, so it is very forgiving. If you are just starting out learning how to tie a bow, wired ribbon is the ribbon you want to learn to tie with. So I have my fun little gingham, black and orange gingham, and then I'm going to add my printed ribbon, and I'm just going to make a few loops with it. I'm going to take just a florist wire, and I'm going to tie that bow off. And then I'm going to take a Koi wood pick. This is a 6-inch wood pick. You can pick these up from your local craft store, or you can get them online. But it's a 6-inch wood pick. It's green, and then it has a little piece of wire at the tip. It helps you to be able to pick a bow or anything right over into an arrangement. If it doesn't have enough length, you can always add a wood pick. Now, I say that, but you don't need to put that on a fresh flower. You do not need to put a wood pick on a fresh flower, because a fresh flower obviously needs the water, okay? So you don't want to lengthen a flower with a wood pick if it's fresh. I'm going to take and tuck that bow right there into the front. So our little jack-o'-lantern has a little bow embellishment, but I don't want him to not show, so I'm going to make sure that I push our bow kind of more into our design so you can see his little face. But here is our finished design. Again, the flowers we used included bells of Ireland, orange daisies, some fun sunflowers, and then the greenery was grevillea, which was that serrated fun colored grevillea, seeded eucalyptus, leather leaf, and rumex. And then we added our fun little pumpkins, but just a cute arrangement, perfect for Halloween. Guys, thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions about how we do things here at Flowers by the Bunch, you can always ask. We would love to answer your questions. I hope you have a wonderful day. Do me a great big favor. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. And if you'll hit the bell, you'll get notifications for when we have a brand new video. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.